Welcome to the Mother May I podcast with Frank and Irene on Strong Island Entertainment. Gee, I hope I didn't make a mistake with these two. They promised me they'd bring in some really good guests. Well, anyway, here's Frank and Irene.
Hello and welcome to Mother May I podcast with Mr. Frank Conniff. I'm Irene Bremis. Thank you so much. We're so excited. We have a fabulous show today. Hello, Mr. Conniff. How are you, sweet boy? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I had to take Steve for his colonoscopy. That was interesting.
Fun.
Yeah, that's always fun. You know, I like to ask him questions right after he comes out of the anesthesia so I can get the truth. Because he's at that, he's in and out that hypnagogic stage, or I like to plant a fucking seed so that maybe I can get my way. Have you ever had a colonoscopy done, Frank?
I did a couple years ago. The person at the clinic said, sorry, we don't do anal, but I managed to convince them to do it for me. And it all turned out good. You know, I got a good report. Anyone will tell you, and I'm sure Steve will tell you, the worst part is the night before when you can't eat anything and you have to drink this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you shit like crazy.
Yeah. It really adds an extra level of, no sex to our no sex relationship. It's fantastic. Especially after there's that odorless farting that occurs as well, because you gotta let that.
An odorless fart is just, what's the point, you know?
Yeah, it's like a queef, a male anal queef, I guess, right? Frank, but they're important. I'm getting my first one, so I'm
I got my booster on Monday.
What? Yay! Okay, awesome. So how do you feel?
I feel fine. You know, it's a day afterwards, I felt lethargic and listless and mentally impaired, and I'm like, cool, I feel normal. There's no So I have it, and in fact, I'm just coming back now. I just walked around almost the entirety of Central Park, like just now.
Oh my God! Is that what we were going to delay the show for? Your exercise?
Yes, because I left my house because my cleaning lady was here today.
Oh, I'm sorry, my pinky
just till 1 o'clock, so I was worried about the
interruptions and stuff. Wow, Frank, I really have to come over now that you have a spotless home, okay?
Oh my God, you can't believe how clean it is. She got dirt that's been here forever.
So there's something like to be said about keeping, because psychologists and psychiatrists and therapists often look at, we know that they look at art therapy, but they also look at your home, how it's kept, which is very embarrassing for me. So now you won't be held, you can have somebody walk in and you'll get like an ace review. People are this guy, oh my God.
Yeah, it's
is spotless.
No, it's an extravagance, but for me, it's worth it. Other people would say, I've got to be careful with my money. I'll clean the fucking place myself. I don't need to spend money. But for me, it's worth it to have someone come in once a week and clean it up. It's
necessary. And don't you feel so much better? You can breathe easy. It's so necessary. It's amazing. I don't want to keep our guests waiting anymore. I'm just going to bring her up. This woman is one of my favorite people in this business. I absolutely love her. She is the daughter of legendary actor, the late Charles Grodin. We all know him. He started his career in 1977 with The Heartbreak Kid. He's been in numerous movies, from Beethoven to Frank Irene, Dave.
Well, you're already inaccurate. His career started way before.
Oh, it did? Okay, so Frank is my correction because he was alive back then and I was barely born. Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, Heartbreak Kid. He was in Catch-22, which was like 1970. And
see, now I didn't know that.
Two minor roles, and then The Heartbreak Kid, which I think was 72 or 73.
Okay, was that his breakout career then? Was that what happened? Like, was that his breakout performance?
Why don't we bring his daughter on and ask her?
Okay, let's bring her on. Anyway, I just want to say this woman is incredible. I want to go on about her because the apple does not fall far from the tree. She's an incredible comic. She has a book that you need to get out it's called Stand Up, and she talks about her happy and not so happy memoir. She's amazing. I love her. Marion Grodin, everybody, let her know.
So excited. I love you, and I think you're amazing too. And you're wearing a light lipstick, which I love.
We decided, Marion and I, she said that we both decided that she said that a red lipstick actually hijacks the face. And I think that.
Yeah, actually that's your wonderful word, but it is a cosmetic terrorist is my term. Yes. And you're so pretty. And I like less is more because I just like to see you.
Oh, sweetie. Already look at this.
When you see the red lips, it's like a float in the Thanksgiving Day parade. It's aggressive.
It's very aggressive. Exactly.
Yeah,
you're right.
You don't need it. People need it to compensate. You don't need to compensate. You got the whole package.
Oh my God. Look at this woman. Look at how amazing.
I love Frank. You hear Frank's energy level is unbelievable. I love Frank. It's like, it's true. It's true. It is true. You're a beauty. You're a classic.
I'm trying to make my contribution to the conversation by agreeing with you.
I love it. I love it, Frank. You are also beautiful, and you do not need to wear red lipstick either, Frank. You can go with a light shade.
Yes, okay, I'll remember that.
Or just a gloss, Frank. Honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say just a gloss, but with a little shimmer.
Sounds good.
A little shimmer.
Just a little shimmer. So,
yeah, Frank,
Marion,
just wake up.
I was just telling her I just came back from a 5-mile walk.
Oh my God, I wouldn't have guessed
that.
I
am normally. I just did a joke about how after getting my booster shot, like the side effects that other people complain about, that's just the way I am all the time. So I don't even notice the side effects.
Right. That was your regular.
Yeah.
I hear you.
This is the way I am,
He's low key. He's not like us, Marion. You and I, all we do is like we're loud. Thank God, right?
Well, it's like we've just been shot out of a cannon.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's like we're being chased. Yes. My dad used to say to me all the time on the phone. He'd be like, "So who's after you?" I'd be like, "No, it's just the thoughts in my head."
That's now we want to talk about your dad. Obviously, we want to talk about you. I also neglected to talk about breast cancer up front at the top of the show. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I went to get the twins checked out, and I know that you, my dear, also had your bout. Am I correct in saying this?
Yes, I did have breast cancer. I did, and thank God that was a long time ago, and I'm good.
And you're good now, right? So very important.
Yeah, it was about 15 years ago. I was getting in the shower after a sticky August night, and my hand just brushed the side of my breast, and I felt a lump, and it was cancer.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. But, thank God I went through what I went through. It was very early in the detection process. And what's interesting, and I will share this if this is helpful to anybody, I had lost a lot of weight because we carry a lot of weight in our boobs. And so sometimes that disguises the lump, and I had lost a lot of weight, and so you could actually see it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I lost weight in my boobs.
That's why women have got to go get it checked regardless of whether they see a lump or not, right?
Right.
Yeah, you got to get your regular mammograms. In fact, I'm overdue because of the pandemic. I got a little behind, but thank God I've been well.
Right. You have to get your mammograms, and you also sometimes, because of breast density, you also have to get a sonogram of your breast.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Because if you don't advocate for yourself, I have a friend that very young died of breast cancer, like about a couple of months ago. They wouldn't give her tests that she requested because of her insurance. It always comes down to money. And
terrible.
She one day, and it was like, they told her she had stage 4, and she's like, what happened to stage 1, 2, and 3?
Right. It was there. She just didn't know.
It was there. She didn't know. And also men with man boobs need to go too, because actually erroneous belief that only women get breast cancer.
No, that's totally true. But can I talk about something that's even more important than breast cancer?
Oh.
Your highlights are fantastic. Your blonde highlights. I mean, I'm listening to the conversation. I'm like, this is important, but I can't stop thinking about how I need highlights. It's a framer. It frames the face.
Listen, I did this myself, and you don't need that because you have beautiful blonde hair, okay?
Yeah, it's really it's a wig. I'm wearing a wig.
Are you wearing a wig?
No, I'm not wearing a wig.
I want to tell Frank about a show that we did together. Frank, Marion and I were in a show together that Danny Cohen was pitching, and it was called Funny Bitches. Marion, you remember this? And Marion, you were the funniest thing about that show.
We had a good time. We had a good time.
Now, I recently found the clip of you in Chinatown, which I don't know if we could really air nowadays, but anyway, it was so hilarious.
Yeah.
You totally stole the show. I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree because that's what your father was known for too.
Right. He's nobody like him. So my dad is Charles Grodin. He passed away recently. Nobody like him, his dryness, his intelligence, his timing, just nobody like him.
I might add too, a really terrific and hilarious writer, because I read his books that he put out. They were so
amazing writer. So he wrote a book. Frank, did you read It Would Be So Nice If You Weren't Here?
Yes, I love that book. Yeah.
Phenomenal. And actually the story behind It Would Be So Nice If You Weren't Here was that he was making a picture called 11 Harrow House, and he was up in a bell tower with Candice Bergen, and they were waiting to go to the shoot, and this English sort of proper woman came through and said, "Are you meant to be here?" And he said, "No, they were just waiting. They found a place to wait." And she said, "Well, it would be so nice if you weren't here." And that's basically what you're made to feel in show business, is that it's mostly rejection, it's mostly go away, it's mostly we don't want you. And so at the height of his fame, he wrote a book that was so sort of Hamish and Jewish word for soulful, and empathic, because he was doing really well. And yet at the height of that, he wrote a book about the struggle.
Right. And he never really got what he deserved as an actor. His tenure as an actor, he never really got, he was such a brilliant actor, and he did so much. I mean, I was reading up on him even further, and all the work that he did for criminal justice reform.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, he had a career in show business, right, and he was very well loved and very beloved, but he also had a whole, other thing going on, which was that he advocated for people who were in prison who shouldn't have been there, like women usually of color who had been forced into running drugs just to put food on the table for their families, and were now serving long prison bids. And he got, I think, 4 of these women out of prison. And he also helped to overturn the Rockefeller drug law, which meant, and it's ridiculous now, that they could put you away with like a nickel bag of weed.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if that were true, Frank would be serving a long bid in Rikers right now.
Yeah, right now, because he mules all the time. I keep telling him,
he's a mule. I look at him and I say mule.
I'm a recovering drug addict, and there's not a jury in the world that would believe that.
Yeah, I am also. How long are you sober?
Just turned 36 years.
Wow, I'm right behind you. I've got 32.
Oh, amazing. Congrats.
You guys are making me feel guilty about my drug abuse, okay?
No. You know what? It's all part of the mystique.
Yeah.
Frank, do you go to meetings?
I have. In the pandemic, I haven't gone
right.
as much.
You can Zoom in if you want, too. Like I'm doing NAMI meetings online.
That doesn't really interest me, but,
What are you doing online, Irene?
I'm doing these NAMI meetings. They're for the national, I forget what it stands for, but basically.
Oh, yeah, mental health.
Yeah, it's really helped me because I had a lot of, I suffered from a family. My sister is mentally ill, and the last 13 years has been very tumultuous and hard for me. So, they're great because they help family members, it's not.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Now, do you deal yourself with mental health stuff? Because I definitely do.
Of course we do. Obviously I deal with, and Frank will always talks about his depression. I deal with depression. Plus I have a little bit of OCD as well.
I have more than a little.
I have OCD.
Yeah, I have OCD. I'm medicated for it, which helps. I also,
what are you on for OCD? I'm curious.
I'm on Effexor. And Effexor's been really good for the OCD. And I love that the name of it is Effexor because it sounds like it's saying affects her. And I'm like, it does, it affects her. And so it's been very, very helpful. But I also, I go to meetings and I exercise. Frank was talking about a 5-mile walk or run. And, that's very important for the endurance. You know that, Irene, you work out.
Yeah, I feel like the only reason I didn't end up like sectioned is because alongside my sister at some point was because I do exercise. I feel That's the thing that separated me from my sister. You know
I
what I mean?
see. And how is she doing now?
Doing unbelievable now. She's doing really, really great. I can't believe it. She's like my hero, my rock now. It's amazing. But, you know, there's hope. There's a silver lining for people. It's just this whole fucking institution, the mental health institution, is like a goddamn revolving door. It comes down to money. If your insurance runs out, they throw you, they catapult you, eject you out of the door, and they don't really keep you in for observation long enough to see what meds are working for you, what's not working for you, so that you get the right.
So when I stopped drinking, I got very mentally sick, and I stopped drinking in my late 20s, and I had DTs, delirium tremens, for anyone who doesn't know, and I was seeing things and hearing things, and this went on for a long time. I was on a lot of psychotropic medication, Mellaril and Stelazine. I was very ill, and, you know, through therapy and meds and, you know, I got into recovery, everything I got, thank you, God, I got better. My joke is that if you've been psychotic, neurotic's not that bad. But, you know, what was I going to say about that? Oh, I had a shrink named Dr. Hedberg, which I thought was so appropriate.
Right. Yeah, it is. Oh my God. You know, Marion, you're literally one of the funniest women in this business. You
Thank you.
Crack me up.
Thank you.
Not only are you smart, or your joke solid, it's just your persona.
Thank you.
How you connect to the audience. I just want to know, where the hell is your special? This is what I want to know.
Oh yeah, no, I know. You know, I had an album on Sirius and they played it for 2 years, so I have to do another album.
What is it called? Tell everybody what it's called.
You're on your own, fatty.
Oh my God.
You're on your own, fatty. And the cover of it was just me lying down in like a complete sugar stupor, clutching a giant chocolate chip cookie.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that
I figured out, because I've never had a stand-up special, and but I just tell everyone that none of my Netflix specials have aired because they're too controversial.
That's very funny. You were canceled before you got a chance to even air.
I was absolutely.
That's how.
Did you guys see Dave Chappelle's special?
Oh no, I haven't yet, but I know that his feet are held to the fire once again. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. I'd like to see it, but you know, the irony about all this is they say there's no bad press, and all of this press is just making people, it's like a magnet, you know, it's like a moth to a flame. It just makes people draw closer to the person that's controversial.
Exactly, i.e. the Trump presidency. Exactly. The more bad publicity somebody gets, the more they're drawn.
The idea that Dave Chappelle could be canceled is ridiculous, because he's incredibly popular. No matter what happens, if Netflix drops, and by the way, Netflix I read this somewhere, that Netflix, the budget for the Dave Chappelle special, which is just him on stage, but in terms of what they pay him, it costs Netflix more than the entire series of Squid Game.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. They literally pay him like $23 million or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm sure Chappelle is getting more laughs than the Squids.
Yeah.
There were some good laughs in that.
Laughs than the Squids, yeah. So let's talk about my other favorite topic, my love life.
Okay, let's talk about that. So, Frank, I'm going to tell Frank what's going on. I'm trying to set up Marion with a fireman because misery likes company. I need to be honest and get that out of the way right away, because I'm married to a fireman and I know it's not an easy road. But I am trying to set her up with a fireman. And I want to ask you, Marion, so what is it that you look for in a guy? Seriously.
Well, one of the things I like about a fireman is that, you know, going in, they have a long hose. So I think that is always
them. Not if they're an Irish fireman, sweetie. Anyway, go on.
Okay, you may have just revealed more than you meant to. No, I mean, you know, they say that you grow up to sort of marry your father. I mean, you know, my dad was so funny and so smart. And I will say also, which people know through his, you know, benevolent work, so kind and such a good person and such a loving, empathic person. So I look for all that. And, you know, it's not easy to find. I'm on Tinder. And, it's unbelievable how many people are from the Netherlands and want to discuss cryptocurrency. I don't know what is going on there, but I'm like, I am looking for a lover, not a CPA. I don't know why most of the texts revolve around Bitcoin. I don't understand. I don't have any money. If you're coming to rip me off, you're not good at your job because you have not targeted. I mean, struggling comics are not the person to go after for Bitcoin.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Marion, I can't believe this, Frank, but I just told her that I'm trying to set her up with somebody named Charlie. I didn't even put the two together.
Wow.
That's her father's name. I'm going to take
And that's, Charlie was something that people called him who really knew him. I mean, mostly people called him Chuck, but people would call him Charlie also. And of course, he was in Charlie's Aunt. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be great. I'd love to meet someone where there's that spark, but chemistry is a very elusive thing. You can look on paper and think, well, you're both this, you're both that, you're both this. And you meet the person and they're like, hello. And you go, yeah, no, I can't.
No, I can't do this. Now, honestly, when you think about somebody, I think that we can all agree as comics that we look for somebody who's funny. They have to have a great sense of humor.
And they don't have to be the star of the show, but they have to have a good sense of humor.
You're right.
They don't have to, I mean, if you can make me laugh, that's such an aphrodisiac.
Yes, exactly. Right. Because the sex does run out and then laughter can just take its place. It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Again, this has turned into like an intervention for Irene, but yes, but that is true. That is true. And you have to really like the person because as time goes on, things do change, things do shift, and you have to really want to spend time with the person.
After a while, you start charging a 2-drink minimum, because
That's it. Absolutely. And there are no comps.
There are no comps. That's so true.
My last relationship was a bringer relationship, which was weird.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. See, those endorphins are kicking in from your walk.
I doubt that. But...
Now, did you walk, Frank, or did you run?
No, I don't run. I walk.
No, he walks fast like he has to go to the bathroom. We already discussed
that's because I do. But,
well, sometimes on a walk you have to go, and sometimes you just have to go into the woods.
I do that in Central Park. It's better than using the public restrooms. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, which are disgusting. I walk a lot too. I walk about 4 times a week. I walk for an hour. It's changed my life. It was during the pandemic. I just had to get out of the house. It was crazy. My head was crazy, too isolated, too insulated. And I started walking and it's been life-changing.
It is life-changing. So Marion, walking to me is like the most underrated form of exercise. Honestly.
I think so because people act like it's nothing and it's not nothing, but you do like high aerobics, right?
Well, I do half-an-hour sessions. I do like, I do, not high aerobics. I wouldn't say. I just work out with weights and do ab work and work with the kettlebell. I train a lot of comics. I have a lot of comics that I train, and we do it on.
Oh, that's amazing.
I do it for a half hour. Yeah. But I think walking, like you said, if you're walking an hour, how many times a week did you say?
4 or 5 times a week.
I think that's incredible. Now, where do you live?
I help other people get healthy when I do stand up because I always walk the room.
You encourage other people's walking.
Yes.
I live in Teaneck, New Jersey, where all my people are. It's very Jewish. They're walking. They're always walking. Because it's always some Jewish holiday and you can't drive, so I fit right in. But I was on J-Date. And I got off J-Date because all my matches look like Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof. So I said, you know what, I'm not aroused.
Now so we got the inner makings of what you want. What about do you have like something that you're attracted to in terms of like,
it really is a chemistry thing. And so, yes, it's nice to have somebody who's good looking, but I've been with people that are good looking where I didn't have the same chemistry as I had with people that were less good looking, where there just was a spark. So I basically think, it has to do with how you connect and chemistry. And that is a very elusive thing because, one person's, God is another person's rodent.
Right. You're absolutely right. Now, have you gone on any Tinder dates? So now you're on Tinder. You're off a J date. You're done with
No,
J.
I'm on both. I'm very
you're on
busy.
both.
I'm very busy. I don't have a lot of time for my career because I'm just checking the sites. I'm on both. I went on one Tinder date and the guy was very nice. I didn't feel any chemistry. And at the end of it, and he reminded me a little bit of my Aunt Marcia. So it wasn't, yeah. So, I mean, and I don't mean that to sound terrible because he's a nice looking guy, but I couldn't help but think about Aunt Marcia. And, you know, then at the end, I said, he hit me up. He said, I'd love to do this again. And I said, I'll be honest with you, I didn't kind of feel that chemistry. And he said, yeah, me neither. But I thought he was saving face. So, you know, I mean, look, there's so many people in the world. The likelihood that you'll meet one that will be for you eventually is pretty strong. Frank, do you have love in your life?
I do not. Aside from my cat, I do not at this moment.
Right.
And I'm hoping to find it at some point.
Are you on the sites?
I was on Tinder, but everybody rejected me on Tinder. Nobody swiped.
Frank.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Did you do some choosing?
Yeah, but I didn't get any responses back. So
right. That's very frustrating.
You know, we never discussed this, Marion. I'm so glad that you brought this up. I never knew that you were on Tinder, Frank, because I never cared.
You know what? It was after I did, or right around the time I first did Lane Moore's show, Tinder Live. I don't know if you're aware of that, but she does,
yeah.
Where she talks back to Tinder in front of an audience, and it's very funny.
Who is the person?
Lane Moore, who's a comedian and writer, very funny, very talented. And I've done her show a few times. She does it with a couple of other comedians, and we just like make comments about what's happening. So I figured, I should be on it. And also, you know, I typed in, like, I didn't try to go out with like 25-year-old girls. You know, I put in as my age group, you know.
Age appropriate? So you were going for women?
45 to dead, you know, that's kind of my demographic. But like nothing worked out on it. What can I say?
I'll be honest with you. I think if you are mostly focused on dead, you'll get somebody.
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
I should start cruising.
I like the men that put in, they're looking for 25 to 75. I'm like, wow, they are really open-minded.
They're really open-minded. It
could be like their younger sister, or it could be Nana.
Yeah.
Right. And their luck would be the two women that they would have chemistry with are 24 and 76. And
right, exactly. It's an elusive thing, you know, and I believe in a higher power. And I believe that it is, you know, in a higher power's hands. And when it is right, it will happen. I, for a long time, wasn't open. I wasn't open for a long time. And then something shifted. I think also I had shame about like being someone who was looking, and I just don't anymore. You know, I had this self-consciousness about, oh my God, I don't want to be conspicuous as somebody who's like looking for somebody. But why not? I mean, it's natural and everybody wants to be with somebody. So what's so bad about being seen that way?
I have a similar problem, I think, is I feel very self-conscious.
Well, that's because, you know, it was never accepted. You know, when we were growing up, dating online wasn't an acceptable thing.
Oh, no, it didn't exist.
Now it's the norm. It's how people meet. In fact,
yeah, people would go onto MySpace, and it's like you could get laid or you could get an armoire. I mean,
or
it could
worse,
go
Craigslist or the back of Backstage, where the whatever the ads that people place.
The personals.
Yes, the personals. Now you're open, and I think you know, you actually have to treat this sort of like a job. I'm not lying. Like,
well, that's true, and I've thought of that, and I do my due diligence, and I go online, and you know, and I also think I had a really great conversation with my best friend, Buddy Fitzpatrick, who you should definitely have on the show. And Buddy met somebody, and we were talking about how he didn't meet someone on the site, but he felt like energetically he was telling the universe he was open by being on the site. And it also emboldened him. So when he met this woman that he was really drawn to, he walked up to her and he said, listen, like, I just need to tell you, I am very attracted to you. And that's all I'm going to say. And through a series of different events, they ended up together and he's very happy.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a very important point. What you just said is immeasurable. Like he's throwing that out there because he's ready, he's open, so he's receiving. I
think so. I think I'm very much a believer in energetics and what you put out and what you draw to. You call it law of attraction, whatever it is, but I believe in that.
Me too. I 100% believe in that. I really do.
Now, how did you meet your husband?
I was waiting for Frank to do that. Okay, so I was a little bold with my husband. We didn't meet online, but he had absolutely no interest in me initially. He actually had a crush on my sister, who's a lesbian, and he also had a big crush on. He wanted to get together with my best friend. That's who he was really attracted to. But what I did was I caught him when he was vulnerable. After 9/11, he lost a lot of his friends, which is a very sad thing. He was feeling kind of vulnerable, and I swooped in like a goddamn fucking hawk. And
wow.
Took advantage of that.
Oh. So you exploited 9/11 so much they almost hired you to be in the Bush administration.
So
wow.
I always
and
thought
how
that
did
you set
how did you make your move?
Your house on fire to get him is what I heard.
Wait, I had to set my house on fire? No, that wouldn't get him there at all. Believe me, if I set my house on fire, he'd be in my fridge looking for a cold beer. Seriously, I would be dead, honestly. But I met him because, so I used my friend's beeper. It was beepers back then. I used her, actually it was a cell phone. I used her cell phone to beep him. And he came thinking it was her, that he was going to meet her, and it was me. And you know what? I didn't really have shame about it because I liked him and I was a little forward about it. And when he came, everything worked out. As it turns out, I was more appropriate for him than she was, you know?
How was he even in your circle? How did you even know him?
This is a good question. I used to work for him. You know how they say, don't shit where you eat?
Yeah.
Well, I did shit where I ate, and then I ate a lot, in fact.
Wow. Okay.
At that pizza place? Is that what you're saying?
No, he actually had a club on Sullivan Street. It was like a rock club, and I used to bartend there. That's how I met him.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how long are you together, Irene?
I'd say we've been together for about 20 years now. Yeah, 20
That's
years.
Awesome. And you're married?
We're married. We've been married for about 15 years, together for 20 years. It's not easy. It's not easy. I think you were married once, right? Were you married?
I was married. I'm divorced.
Right. Let's talk about that for a second. How long were you married, if you feel comfortable?
I was with him for 17 years. We were married for a little less than half of that. Yeah, I mean, it's tricky, you know, it's complicated. Like you just said, it's work.
Mm-hmm. It is work, you know, and you were probably very young when you guys first got together.
Well, here's the thing, you know, I was very newly sober, and I think that, you know, there's a suggestion in AA and all the A's that you should spend the first year getting to know yourself and no major changes. And, you know, I got with him when I was very new in recovery, and I think that there was a lot for me to know about myself that I didn't know, and it was premature. So, you know, I mean, I have nothing negative to say about him. You know, he's a great guy. We went through a lot of difficult stuff. But I feel in a lot of ways like I haven't met the love of my life.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah. I do feel that. I do feel that I still, like, you know, I mean, I've been in love before, but I think in terms of the love of my life, I think that's still going to happen for me.
And it will. And it will.
And his name may be Charlie the firefighter.
Oh my God. And Charlie the firefighter is probably one of the loveliest guys you'll ever meet. Not only is he a firefighter, he's retired now, though. He's retired. Right. And not only he happens to be like staggeringly good looking, okay, but that's just, it has nothing to do with who, like, it's just a side effect of who he is, you know, but he's also, he's very artistic in that he likes to play the guitar and write music, and he's,
wow.
I don't know how funny he is.
What are you, his agent?
What? I'm his pimp, okay, Frank.
What did Frank say?
What are you, his agent?
She's everybody's agent, Frank. You know that.
know
Oh
that.
my God.
Well,
I'll tell
here's
you-
something that's different. So I decided after not meeting anybody and being very frustrated and being lonely, I said, you know what? I'm just going to put it out to all my good friends because that's what people do. And I've never done it. And I've had self-consciousness and shame about it. And I said, fuck it. And I basically, anyone that was in my life that knew a lot of people, I started saying, I'm looking and I really hope to meet somebody. And if you know of anybody, let me know. Because I think if it comes through somebody, that's a heck of a lot better because they're vetted.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You're not going to meet a guy that's funnier than Frank. So that's going to be scratched right off the list, Frank. I fucking tell you right now, he's the funniest and the cutest man that I've ever met in my life. But Charlie's not such a shabby second contender. I will say that. And, you know what? I don't think there is any shame. I think this show is kind of like we were going in one direction and you steered it, which is why I love you. Marion, you're talking about things that are so vital. And I didn't even know that Frank was on Tinder, but it's so important to kind of put that energy and to drop the shame because we weren't raised that way, you know?
Right.
Everybody wants to find somebody.
I think especially as a woman. I think especially as a woman, there's the feeling that, you know, he should come to you, he should pursue you. And I've had that my whole life. So, you know, now being older, it's like there is no shame in it. And, you know, I don't feel my age. I just had a birthday and I don't care if he's younger, you know, I don't care about that. I feel very young and vital in my life and, you know, just want to have somebody to share it with.
Mm-hmm. Frank, you were going to say something, sweetie. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say something. I forgot. It left my mind.
Well, please. I have hormones. I know all about it. I have COVID head and I've never had COVID. That's how bad it is. That COVID.
So I just want to say to Frank, you know, there are sober dating sites. Have you been on any of them like Lucid and some other sites?
I never heard of that before.
Yeah, you know, that might work better than Tinder. If you're not having a good experience on Tinder, I would try Lucid or Sober Singles. Yeah, or any of that, because it might be more your speed.
Yeah, that sounds, you know.
It's Lucid, LOOSID. But I have friends on there, and I like the idea of, you know, dating sober because you at least have a lot in common from the jump.
I think if anyone who dates me, people are going to have a hard time believing they're lucid, but you know, we can hopefully get to that.
Oh, Frank, you cutie pie. If I know of anybody, I'll hook you up.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, Frank, I think that we should do it. We should I think you should join the site and then we should check in. I love the idea of I just love looking on sites. Frank, I want to do this with you. I know it's a lot and I wouldn't want me to do this with you either, but I would love to do this. And Marion, are you adverse to somebody who drinks? Because I'm not sure that Charlie is not an alcoholic, but he doesn't.
I'm not adverse to somebody who drinks. I just don't want anybody who's urinating while they're talking to me.
Frank.
Wow, well, that rules me out.
The whole time.
No, I mean, you know what? Here's the truth, and this is not a funny answer, but it's a genuine answer. I would like somebody who has some kind of spiritual life, you know, because that's very important to me. And do they have to be sober? No, I happen to be alcoholic and I'm sober and thank God. And my ex-husband was sober. And so that was great. But no, that's not a deal breaker for me.
It's not a deal breaker. And
I don't want them like shooting dope into their neck or anything like that. That would be like, ooh, that's a lot.
I think especially being recovering people that we can tell the difference a lot, maybe not always, but a lot of time we can tell the difference between someone who drinks and someone who has a problem with it. You
Definitely.
know, if they have a problem with it, at least I can figure that out. And that got in the way of someone I was dating a while ago and her excessive drinking. Of course, if you tell her she's an alcoholic, she denies it and calls you crazy. But you can really tell the difference between someone who's just having a couple glasses of wine and someone who really has a problem with
Definitely.
alcohol.
Definitely.
I agree. And Frank, I'm curious, what would an alcoholic look like? Is it how much they drink, or is it how they act when they drink, or?
I think it's really simple. It's how much they drink, I think, you know. And then but the thing is when they're when they have had a few drinks and then their personality changes. And then suddenly it's that thing of, we've experienced as sober people, when you're around, it's why we don't want to be around drunk people, not because we're afraid they're going to make us drink, but because they get on a wavelength and then you're not on that wavelength anymore. You know, they're going to some happy place, God bless them, you know, but you as a sober person, you're like, I can't relate to you and hang out with you because you're not like, you know, on the planet Earth anymore.
And it's not always a happy place.
Right.
You know, sometimes the place the person goes to is angry or inappropriate or whatever it is. But I would say, I would just, you know, tag on to what Frank said. I think it's the amount, but I also think it's the relationship, you know, the relationship to booze. And there's some people that can drink not a lot and get altered very quickly, and they're alcoholics. So somebody may have, you know, a few beers and you see that change and they have an issue, and they didn't have to drink, you know, a ton of alcohol, but they have the issue.
Right. I agree with you 100%. I think sometimes it just takes a little, and it's an you know, your personality just derails into this. Usually it's not a happy place, and it's a terrible place. I wish alcohol made everybody's place happy, but
right.
Yes.
I was a very happy drunk. I was in a unitard. I was smoking crack. I was making out with, you know, large men. I mean, it was a party until I was psychotic. Right before I became crazy, it was a party, and I really was in a onesie. I was in a sparkly unitard having an amazing time, but, you know, I was on the brink of disaster.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a party. I'm sorry, but it does sound a little appealing. The unitard, the sparkling, and everything.
Unitard, and the guy that I was dating in the end is dead from the disease. So it's, you know, it's very serious, but it's very tricky because, you know, a lot of people, you can think you're partying and all of that. But I tell you, I go to a clubhouse here in Bogota, New Jersey, and the number of people that have died is staggering. It's staggering, you know, that have OD'd, that have killed themselves. I mean, it's just I've never seen anything like it.
It's funny when I look back at my drinking days, and it's kind of really telling in terms of my addictive nature, that I would stay addicted to something for so long, because I think the really good times I had when I was drunk were really few and far between.
Right.
And, you know, those times when it was just a party and I was drunk and I was having a great time. And most of the time, I think it was just me drinking because I was addicted to it. And, you know, and I just remember a lot of it is just being very unhappy.
Yeah, it is being unhappy, and it masks so many different problems, which I think led to my sister, like Marion was talking about, and then she was psychotic. It's what happened with my sister. She was just masking all her pain with weed. For my sister, the catalyst was weed, masking all her pains, not dealing, drinking, or do, you know, whatever your drug of choice is. And all of a sudden, your problems aren't going away, and then it develops into psychosis or something terrible like that, you know?
Yeah. So, you know, it's I'm grateful as hell. You know, I'm so grateful to be sober and doing stand-up, you know, talking about stand-up for a moment. I could never do that if I was using. I want to tell you, this weekend I will be at the Pocono Palace and Paradise Stream. I don't want to brag. I call the Poconos I call Poca-ho, and I also refer to them as the fuck palaces because people go there to shtup. In fact, I go with a girlfriend, and I asked if we could get 2 beds, and they looked at me like I was crazy because everybody is there having sexual intercourse but me.
Well,
there's a heart-shaped tub.
Oh
and my
God.
joke is, you know, when I went through cancer, it pushed me into early menopause. But I feel that if I got into that tub, I would absolutely be pregnant with triplets. So I'm not getting in that tub. I don't even know what's floating around. There's a round bed. Your feet hang off it. It's delightful.
Oh my God, that sounds so hilarious. I love it. So you're doing this weekend with your friend? Is she also?
No, she's like my right hand, and she comes with me, and she's fabulous. The bed is small for two of us, so I've seriously contemplated asking her to sleep in the tub.
Exactly.
I don't think I will because I value the friendship, but there's a part of me that knows that she really wants to work with whatever the situation is. And I'm like, where is the line? Is the line that you don't cross is when you ask someone to sleep in a bathing device. I think that is where you've crossed the line. So I don't think I'll ask her to sleep in the tub, but you know, I am not a lesbian, but I think that given the circumstances and you're sleeping so close, anything could happen.
Anything could happen. Right. It's like that joke that you do about your cat. Oh my God, I love it when you say.
Yes, I say if you're smoking so much pot that you think your cat is coming on to you, put the bong down. If there's any chance that you're about to enter an interspecies type relationship, stop smoking immediately.
You hear that, Millie? There's Millie.
Well, that's good. Oh, there's Millie. That's Frank's cat. Hi.
Oh, Millie. Let me see.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to see Frank.
She always swipes right, Frank. Millie would never swipe left. She literally always swipes right.
Oh, the sweetie.
Yeah, she's like this.
I have Snuggie and Emmy. They saved me. They're so good for your mental health.
They are.
Those cats?
Yes. No, those are my lovers, Snuggie and Emmy. I have a really funny story to tell. So I used to be in Overeaters Anonymous, and I used to do phone meetings. And I had this big fat cat named Eddie. So I was on a phone meeting and everybody's sharing, you know, I'm trying not to eat muffins, whatever the fuck it is. And so I'm lying on the floor and I've got the phone muted and Eddie's there. And I rescued Eddie and I'm screwing around with Eddie while the meeting's going on. And I'm like, look at me, you big fat fuck. Don't you ignore me. Look at me. Nobody wanted you. No, look at me, you fat motherfucker. And all of a sudden I hear the woman leading the meeting going, excuse me, whoever is talking to Eddie, we can hear you. And I thought it must have sounded like I was abusing my obese partner. Look at me, you fat fuck. Don't you ignore me.
Don't you not look at me.
Don't you fucking walk away from me.
Oh God. Oh my God. Marion, you crack me up. You guys have to go see her this weekend. Also your book. I want to talk about your book, by the way.
I love my book.
That's right. What is it called? Standing Up.
Standing Up, a memoir of a funny, not always life. I think you can still get it on Amazon. It came out like 6 years ago. I did a big Jewish book tour. I went up before like the Jewish Tribunal and I got accepted and I went all over the country. I even went to Canada. It was fantastic. And yeah, the book is great. And you know, it's funny because when they asked me to write a memoir, I thought that's for like Peter Ustinov. Like how am I going to write, you know, a memoir? I'm not Morgan Freeman, but I had a lot to say and I'd been through a lot, you know, and I'm very proud of the book.
Yes, as you should be. And it is on Amazon because I looked it up and I'm going to get it. I don't have your book and I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I was very honest. The original draft was 600 pages. So I had to cut it down, you know, by a lot. But it's an amazing opportunity. You know, in the program, there's what's called a fourth step where you sort of write out your whole deal. And so this was a little bit like that. It was very cathartic. You know, I'd been through a lot. I'd been through cancer and divorce and drug and alcohol addiction. I'd had multiple miscarriages, you know, all this stuff. And then there was a lot of fun stuff too. It wasn't all just bleak, but it was an amazing opportunity.
It was an amazing, and I'm sure it's going to be an amazing read. I absolutely can't wait to get it.
Yeah, definitely get it. I think you'd really like it.
Yo, I can't wait. I'm going to order it as soon as we're done and I'm going to get it and read it and I can't wait. You are the sweetest thing. Not only, again, I'm going to have to echo what I said at the top of the show. You are an amazing comic, such an extraordinary person. And I love you. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And shout out your all your social media handles.
So my website is mariongrodincomic.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, just, you know, follow me, check me out. Facebook is a good, you know, I'll friend you if you friend request me on that. And I'm of a certain age, so we still use Facebook, which I know people make fun of, but I still do that.
I've been booted off of Facebook. He just got booted off of Facebook.
Why?
Banned for life from Facebook.
Good for you, Frank.
They're lost.
Yeah.
We're going to get you on Lucid. And maybe J date, although I don't know that you're going to pass for a J with that light hair.
You know what? That's why I never even went on J date. I knew I couldn't pull that
But
off.
there's goyim on J date.
Oh, are they really? Because I always liked Jewish women, you know?
Yeah, I could see you with a Jewish woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to look around for you.
Okay.
It'd be a perfect match for him. You know what I mean? Because he's sort
Yeah,
of.
I mean, that's what we have to do. We have to all help each other find the one.
Right.
Yeah, we do. And your file is open with
Charlie.
Charlie, your file is open. You understand that if he's not available, the show must go on. Okay.
Yes, but I like the idea of Charlie, so I'm hoping you'll let me know.
Of course I'm going to let you know. I'm loving the idea of Charlie, especially because how can I overlook the fact that his name is Charlie? Hello.
That's right. That's right. Wouldn't it be funny if his name was Charles Grodin?
What a coincidence.
What a wild coincidence.
He's Marion Grodin.
Marion Grodin. That would, now even Frank would start to believe that maybe there's something esoteric happening there for me. Because it's hard to get this guy to believe. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
I love you. I love you both.
Nice to
I
meet
appreciate it. Have a great day, and I'll wait to hear about Charlie.
Okay, sweetie. Mwah, love you. And Frank, what do you have going on? Are you doing anything with the Mads coming up?
Well, we just did our last show on Tuesday, and it was great. Our next one will be the second Tuesday of November, and we haven't picked a movie yet, but it's going to be fun. So
it always is. And Marion, if you've never seen him in action, it's amazing. It's amazing. You should definitely check it out. Well, at Irene Bremis 13 on Twitter, at Irene Bremis. I'm going to be at the Brokerage and Governors this weekend, and we will see you next week, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Mwah.
Bye.
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 Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to the Mother May I podcast with Frank and Irene on Strong Island Entertainment. Check us out next week when Frank and Irene sit down with, you know what? I don't know what these two are going to do next, but we'll see you next week.